come hang out and learn about character morality and chat with us about story.
Welcome, Stick, Neon, L, and Flax, and Apple. Everyone's here!
Everyone's here. Hello, everybody.
Oh my god!
Excellent. All right.
Also, L with the newt. The newt. I wish I had a newt. I wish I had a freaking newt emoji in here, but I do not. Izzy, hello. Gunny. Poor Gunny with the work meetings.
I know, right?
Sorry, look at this turnout. Dang, we're getting the crowd. This is nice.
This is nice.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing, Sonny. I love the setup image.
I'm just gonna darken.
I need to be clear. This isn't an image. Is it, that Caitlin drew? It's actually a photograph that was taken of us during a real session.
There we go.
Oh, go on.
Oh, slapped a popcorn sticker. Nice. Excellent. I'm so glad we can play with those now.
Oh, I know. Spoiler alert. Y'all are getting the comic Tamblane is going to destroy you, and I am living for it. I am having so much fun. I want to be I'll say it again. I didn't just come in and turn the story dark. I was shocked when Caitlin's like, "Here's my ideas," and I was like, "Oh my god, Caitlin! Wow, I did it." Caitlin's got plans, y'all.
Do. I have the plans.
Speaking of plans, today we're planning on talking about character morality.
That's right. Reminded me I have to open up the bot. Very important.
Yes.
I'm gonna... Fine, I'll update. We just might be a little, in the setting up stage a little longer than I like. So how are you all doing today?
How is the gang?
I've mostly been noodling on getting more fun things squished into this stream. I updated my
Welcome.
My brain.
Yes.
I did not update my brain. I updated my PNG tuber so that it'll follow my hand while I draw.
Yes, guys, it's great.
Oh, this should help. That's right. My microphone was not smooshed into my mouth.
If you're not eating your microphone, then you're not talking. Welcome, Momo, as well. Welcome, Free Guy.
Local library. I love the library. I worked at the library for a bit. I miss it.
Never forget that libraries are not just a place for books. They're a place for internet access. They can tell you things like where to find certain shelters around town. They are great as a resource for education. They can give you access to things you might need during the day for work, like printers. They are basically an everything resource, and people need to utilize their library more.
Agreed.
Also, we need to be supporting libraries right now because they're under attack, and I'm like, go libraries, defend the library forever. There was a Michigan library that recently voted against keeping their own library because they were mad about LGBTQ books, and I'm like, y'all are going to realize very quickly how much you needed that library. It's gone. Libraries are so great. We have a lovely one here in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. That's just a beautiful. They just updated it, and it's an absolutely gorgeous place. Yeah, I love the fact that libraries basically are meant to be a community resource for people to get whatever they need.
Our local library also has, I believe, rentable 3D printers and things like that.
Oh, cool!
Very cool.
There's a few that you can. It kind of depends. I think it depends on the area, and I think like because some libraries are set up to also kind of have some shelter, like aspects to them, like they basically like or they can give you access. Like people who don't have homes can go there and they can tell you, hey, go here. Here's what you'll need for this. It's really so. If you ever like know someone who needs help, and you don't know the area, library's a good first check. And librarians are magicians.
Yes,
I don't know how they do what they do. Also, welcome Cassini, leading outcast, welcome, to the stream. I'm very honored by the turnout today. This is very nice. Thank you for everyone
This
for
is
coming.
awesome. Yeah. Hey, Wolf, welcome in. All right, I think I'm ready to switch us into live mode. Are you ready? Oh, also, Ari, do you have a guide set up? Also, hey, thank you for the sub, Wolf.
Do I have what's up? Sorry, one more time.
Do you have a guide set up for you?
Not yeah, there I know. Welcome. Oh, thank you so much, Wolf. Thank you for the subscription.
All right, I'm moving to the live screen. Woo! Oh, yay! It's a yay sticker. Hooray! And it looks like a hype train is threatening.
Welcome, dog.
Yeah, it's a new talkie me. Cause now
Yeah.
I can draw. Beep, 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 beep.
Look at that! Look at that hand! Look at that hand!
I'm a drawing.
All right, pulling up a guide. This will be the stray walkthrough. Stray walkthrough. Remember the old days of of like when walkthroughs were kind of more of a thing. You would always
I know,
like, I'm
right?
gonna go walkthrough. Why is it? I mean, walkthroughs still exist, but why was the culture for walkthroughs so much bigger? Was it because YouTube videos for guides wasn't as normalized? I guess.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, I love walkthroughs. They're much easier for me than YouTube guys because I don't have to like look, find the place. I'm like, oh, I can just Control F. It's all right there. All right, got my guide loading right now.
I know, right, Izzy? I'm so tempted to have a button press Spotto.
Welcome back. Oh my god, I would squeeze. Is that a thing?
Sort of. It's
Color me intrigued.
the same guy did something for keyboard and also for controller. I don't know if it can be done in 3/4 view, so I'd have to redo your thing, which is fine. Also, I got head padded, and you got head padded. I should move the little head pat for me now, because my little dude moved. My head pat hand.
I'm gonna head into the game today. I'm really close to the end.
You are not.
I'm in Midtown. There's only 2 sections left.
Yeah, I guess that's true. You are definitely
the,
over halfway through. I will say that.
I got the worker jacket. Well, the guy's gonna make it quicker probably because I won't be stuck for ages. I got the hat.
I am unshrimping as Keeper requested. Also, welcome in, Keeper.
And never forget, y'all, I can do whatever I want. Oh, I gotta be careful. I'm not on the wrong browser there. All right, cool. All right, guys. Everyone ready? I think we are officially good to go.
I think we're good to go. As per usual, I have some free giveaway doodle raffle things opened. You can redeem your channel points to make one go. Words are good.
Yes. Also, I should mention. You might have heard. I was looking up the guide that Wolf mentioned. The pat for Caytlin is a little off now. We might want to fix that next time.
Yeah, I actually just fixed it, so it's
cool. Yeah. So I was reading guides. I'm good now. I'm set. Let's do this.
Awesome. I will start the first giveaway since Wolf has. Let's see. Is that the? Might need to go up a little for the head pat, but Scott rated.
Oh, it's a rate of 16 people. Thank you so much.
My goodness.
Oh my God,
thank you. Welcome.
I love the question marks for the raid image. That's cute. I haven't seen that before. Welcome, Jonas. Thank you, Scott.
Just in time for the free doodle raffle. So let's see.
And to see a beautiful cat look you right in the face.
That's
Hello,
right.
everyone. Hey, guys.
All right. The word this time is going to be raid. So type exclamation raid. Or no, just raid. Exclamation raid. Yeah.
This looks a little like 80, so I'm going to pretend it is. Hey, everyone. It's me, Caytlin. Hanging out in my crib, as you can see. This is a $3 million apartment in Seattle. As you can see, it's very glamorous for Seattle's city budget.
Thank you for resubbing, Riser.
Thank you so much.
Woo! And
Unfortunately, we are
follows. Thank
not.
you.
Unfortunately, we are not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. It's a complete coincidence.
Thanks for the follow, Momo.
I wonder how many times the fact that it's called a raid and Raid Shadow Legends exists. I wonder how many times that joke has been made on Twitch.
Oh god, it must be a gorillion.
A gorillion. That's my new favorite word.
Thanks for following. Yeah, gorillion is a good word. Also, a while back when we first started this game, you were like, this game has such good vibes. And I was like, there's a place later that has the best vibes. You have now found that place. Hey, Keeper, congratulations.
Anyone want to come chill, hang out? I didn't see the entire stream with, like, sitting at the table. Where'd the music go? That was the most disappointing thing I've ever experienced.
Riser Steak
Thank you for
gifted a tier
gifting
1
subs,
sub
Riser.
to Izzy Squeaksy.
Thank you so much!
Awesome. I will draw your character for you.
Riser Steak gifted a tier 1 sub to Scott Derg.
I like this character.
Rigged. It's rigged. All right. Let's see where I'm going here. All right. So, all right, everyone. So, for those for whom this is the first time, welcome to Treehollow Talks. Basically, every week, as often as we can, Caitlin and I come together on stream. I play games. In this case, I'm playing Stray, a wonderful indie game. And Caitlin does raffles, and we just kind of talk to you guys about various different aspects of storytelling and creating, often in the webcomic realm, but also in general for just basic storytelling. In the past, we've done. Sorry?
Quick pause. Gunny says your mic is blowing out a lot, and I do agree. I should have caught that.
I know why it is. Is this better? I don't know why.
Much better.
Someone had twisted my mic. I don't know why. It was twisted to the max volume. I have no idea how that happened. I'm gonna assume that Holly did that. It was her conspiracy. Anyway, yeah. So basically, during these streams, sorry about that. We do, we've done things like post-apocalyptic storytelling, non-human character protagonists. We've done, what was our last week? Not last week, but the previous.
The last one we did was. Oh my god, you had so much to say about it. Backstory.
Story, yes. So yeah, it's been a really fun, you can always check out the VODs for previous ones on the official YouTube channel that Caitlin has for Tamburlaine. And yeah, today we're going to be talking about character morality.
Yeah, morality.
Non-Euclidean protagonist. That's going to be for our Pi, a 3.14 stream.
Alright, so to start with.
There was a reason up here, wasn't there? Anyway, yes, let us begin.
So, okay. I have a question for you. I even thought of some ahead of time. Ha ha ha.
I came in here like, I'm playing a cat. Here we go.
Alright.
Character morality? I'll not
Okay.
roll your pants. How's that for morality? Alright.
Here's your first question then. What's an example of a character you've written with a very strong moral code? How did you portray that code, and how did you challenge that code?
I am a fan of this question. Alright, the first character I ever wrote with a moral code wasn't when I wrote, it was when I played in a D&D campaign.
Okay.
Because I played a D&D campaign when I was in high school, and I foolishly picked lawful good without really I'm not saying lawful good's bad, but I hadn't considered what that was going to mean for how I played the character, right? I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, lawful good. I started playing, and I was like, oh, that means I'm really, really good. I really care about right and wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's the point of the character. And, like, at first, I struggled a little bit with the character. I wasn't thrilled with being the goody two-shoes of the group. But then I realized that instead of just being like, oh, this character's boring, because nice characters, sometimes people think of nice people as boring, and that's why people like villains, right? Like, they're like mean characters, edgy characters. But the thing about being nice is that I'm gonna make a reference to the nicest character in all of storytelling, was Samwise Gamgee, who's a good boy. He's just a good boy all around. And Sam has some problems. He has some areas where he's ignorant, though a lot of those areas of his ignorance come from a lack of like experience because he just lives a pretty simple, pleasant life, and that's part of why he's so kind. But it's also a part of why he's, doesn't fully understand the wide world. And that's something that I brought into my character. I was like, well, goodness can sometimes mean like innocence, and innocence can often mean ignorance. A lot of times, innocence and ignorance kind of go hand in hand. If you like, innocence is not the same thing as innocence. Can often be naivety, and that's like I'll say the good side of innocence is like trusting kindness, and the bad side of it is naivety.
Yeah.
And I decided my character had some naive areas where there was a woman who he met during this car. We were in a caravan traveling, and my character trusted her. She was like, "I'm here to help you guys." I was like, "Okay, I trust this person. Why would she lie to us?" I, the player, was very aware that she was. It was so freaking obvious she was evil. But he played the DM. He played her so specifically in a way that would like fool someone who just trusted that people were operating in good faith.
Yeah.
And it was really hard. It was the first time in a campaign I had to actually struggle to like play a character really knowing that I was making it worse for myself, but being like, yeah, that's how it goes. And then things went horribly wrong. My character was permanently injured. The whole caravan blew up. It was very bad. But that experience changed my character, and they learned from that experience. And that ended up being some of the most rewarding gameplay and the most rewarding storytelling. Being good doesn't mean being simple, and it doesn't mean being stupid, and it doesn't mean being
a stick in the mud.
And it doesn't mean because you know what? Sometimes good people get things wrong. They often do. So I would say, remember that goodness does not mean fully aware. It just means that you're trying to do the right thing at all times. So I think from my answer to this question would really be, your morality of your character does not necessarily have to mean that if a good character's actions don't always have to be good, and a bad character's actions don't always have to be bad. It's perspective that matters. If a bad character does something thinking what they're doing is bad, but it ends up helping, it's possible that a bad guy can do good things, and it's possible for good people to do bad things.
Yes.
So morality does not equal good and bad actions. That is a naive way of looking at actions, right? Like, it's a way of thinking that good people always do the right thing and bad people always do the wrong thing, and that's certainly not true. So that's right. But so what would you say is your example? Who is your first truly good character, and how did you deal with their goodness?
Likewise, I think my truly good characters would probably be D&D characters more than anything, but I do tend to make some fairly good or naive characters, but before I answer that, there was a good question of what exactly is a moral code, and so I wanted to touch on that first before I touch on what my character's moral code would be, which would be that it is your character's set of guiding values that leads them that helps them make the decisions that they make.
Yep.
And it can be nature, but I think it's mostly nurture, but definitely some components of nature.
Sure.
And so when figuring out your character's moral code, I would consider their upbringing and their environment and stuff like that for like what has shaped them. And then, sorry, I'm getting distracted. And yeah, good and evil is a subjective matter. It is defined by time period and culture, as Keeper says. It's not black and white, and it never is, never will be. So moral doesn't need to be on the D&D alignment axis. It can be extremely complicated and gray. So if you take Belfry, for example, she is a very compassionately good character who wants the best for everybody, who is very naive and thinks that she can handle anything. And it gets tested when she can't handle things, or when bad things happen and she has to deal with them. And like Tamberlane wanders away the day after she gets her, and she's like immediately crumbles. Like she is not used to feeling like she can survive that kind of difficulty competently, as I think a lot of young adults probably feel.
Oh, for sure. Also, I should just mention that my game is hard. What's the word when like you can't move forward ever again?
What?
Like my game is unplayable.
It's soft locked?
Yep.
Why? What happened?
This clue was active when I quit last time, and it's not now. I looked it up, and there's like basically no solution. There's no way to progress once I restart the entire level.
Oh, well, that is awesome.
Yeah, thanks, game. Real cool of you. So yeah, basically, I was supposed to be able to. I was like wondering why I couldn't like activate this letter.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something I have to click on first in the house. Maybe I have to go over here and like click on the computer. Maybe that's why. No. I'm an angry cat. I'm an angry little cat. Meow, meow, meow.
Pee in his shoes.
I will absolutely pee in the shoes. I'm assuming this that's a couch, yeah. Yeah, the game be busted. That's a shame.
Oh, that sucks.
Literally staring at the... Oh my god, did it appear now? Oh, that's at the couch, isn't it? That's a couch cushion. Yeah. That's the second time I've been soft locked, or hard locked, I guess that would be in this game. I have to restart the entire level. I can't... I guess it's soft lock, isn't it? Alright, I'm doing a checkpoint. That's fine.
Hold on.
Yeah, anyway, continue. I don't want to hijack the scene with this, but just thought I'd mention why I'm wandering in circles endlessly. The guide did not work.
Yeah. So, okay, real fast. There is a... I don't know if that actually went through to the stream or not. The audio of text-to-speech for Wolf's question. But Ari cannot hear text-to-speech, so due to how our audio is set up. So if he talks through it, it's because he can't hear it.
I have to do all of Midtown over again?
Oh no!
Are you kidding me? Let me look. I'm gonna look this up a little more rather than just assuming.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone said...
Okay, good. It didn't go through to you guys as well. Okay, good. So it's just me. Excellent. That means that I don't have to worry about us talking over it by accident. So, all right. Anyway, yeah. Positive reinforcement to prove that Belfry is capable of being responsible. But let's see. Let me think of some of the more ethics guided. Let's go with Tess. Tess has a very a very strong moral code. She's very lawful, very strict. She has you protect those who need protecting. You care for those who need caring for. Nobody is left behind. And when somebody threatens the balance that would make it would make it difficult for other people to receive the care they need, she bucks hard against it, which is why Tess was so adamantly against taking in Tamberlane, and that is a way that I used to make her to force her to consider her morals. And over time, she has softened a bit, but that is still an arc in progress. Ooh, yeah. Ari got a head pad.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm just checking the guide to see if maybe I missed something before I assume. I really, this is very fun. I hate when games don't fix bugs like this. It's like, I understand it's an indie game, but games being locked is pretty much the most egregious bug to me. Like, I really don't like when a game is in unplayable state.
Yeah.
And also, they need to put more, Okay, jump to the window.
A clash of moral codes is a really good way to put together opposing forces in a story. And it's a good way to look at what you're trying to get done.
I managed to reload the clue board. Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes. Okay, we're good. I managed to get it back.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad.
I had already looked at this last time and saved, so this time I restarted the checkpoint and it. Okay, please. Yes, we're back. We're back, baby. We're back.
Hooray! We're good. We're good. So yeah, that's one of the best things about giving your characters a moral compass, or a strong morality, is to use that as a jumping off point for determining how not only the conflicts of the story, but how those different forces will bounce off each other. Today, I'm getting prepared because my husband's tabletop campaign just ended, and now I'm going to be DMing the next one. It's the first time I've DM'd in like 10 years. So I am I'm doing research and getting everything prepared and everything. And I was looking at some stuff that is written for the Dungeon World system, which, actually, let me bring it up. I think I've got that. Oh, wow, I just closed that entire window. No, that was my main Firefox window. Hold on, there's a history tab for this.
Control-Shift-T will pull up all your previous tabs you had.
Control-Shift... It was a whole window, though. It doesn't work for closed windows.
It should. It should. I think Control-Shift-T and all the tabs from my previous dead window popped up. It should work. Maybe. I've never had not work before.
It does not work for me.
Something you have to turn on. Anyone? I don't. I know. I've closed my entire thing before and had that recover. I might have had a setting. Whatever the case. Yeah.
Okay, I got it off of the recently closed Windows drop down in history. Thank you, Firefox. Okay, now if I can figure out which screen has the things I'm looking for. Anyway,
I don't like this. I don't like this guy. This is not. I don't like that. Very Silent Hill moment.
Yeah. I got a head pats.
Yeah, deserved. All right, continue your what you were saying.
Yes. You know what? I'm just gonna pull this up. I'm getting to it, Wolf. Hold on. We have a lot to say.
I have lots of questions to get to.
Okay, so I was noticing when it comes to like putting together a story with different opposing forces, that this system that is set up for Dungeon World is a great system for that, where you oh my god, I need to turn that off. Oh, you're dead. You set up your different forces, so like 1 to 3 forces, or fronts, I believe they're called. So they are things like ambitious organizations, planar forces, hordes, cursed places, etc. You choose an impending doom for each danger, like tyranny, destruction, usurpation, impoverishment. You add 1 to 3 grim portents is what they're called, portents, which is how you codify the plans and machinations of your dangers and how they lead to an impending doom. And then you start figuring out the stakes. Now, yeah. I've never used this for like a story. I only found this today, but I feel like that's a really fun way to use character morality to start like really building out your story.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, backing up, what shows do you think have excellent character morality? A lot of people would say Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood or Last Airbender.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I would say that morality is one of the things for, like, I guess, when people think of, like, good morality, how would you define good morality, for example? Like, for instance,
complicated or realistic is how I would define good.
Yeah, I think like a show with characters who are all very noble can absolutely have good morality if like I haven't seen it, and I don't know how well it's aged. It's like an ancient movie, but Seven Samurai is a movie that I feel like is a good example of like these characters, their entire they have a sense of like they have a sense of a noble purpose to what they do, and even in the face of overwhelming odds, they'll still push forward. And they're challenged frequently on that. A more modern example would probably, I mean, Samwise Gamgee. I'll put Samwise Gamgee, where Frodo is a character who, I don't want to spoil for those who haven't seen the movies or read the books, but Frodo's relationship with the ring is complicated. And he has a purpose that he sticks true to, but all the while, his temptation is growing. And I would not call him a good morality by the end of the movie, but in the book, if you consider his actions later on.
Yeah.
And there's consequences, right? Like, what makes morality good to me is when a character is challenged on their morality.
Yes.
If they're both bad and good. I think bad characters are much more interesting when we understand, first off, why they're bad, why they believe these things to be good, and I love when villains are either tempted by or find goodness within themselves. I find that fascinating. Not every villain has to be redeemed, but a villain who's just unapologetically evil, while they can be fun, sometimes they can venture on boring. If, like, they're like, I just want to destroy the planet, ha! You're like, all right, okay, cool, I guess. Like, that can work, but you have to be... That's usually a more comedic type of villain.
Yeah.
A villain... Generally, again, I mentioned this in other Treehollow Talks, TT, but you don't ever want your character to go through the story never doubting themselves, right? And what more fundamental thing to doubt than your goodness? The best Marvel movie is Black Panther because the villain, I kind of started to side with the villain about halfway through, and that's very rare to do, especially in a Marvel movie. Because we understood that the villain was sympathetic, and the things that they'd experienced were not only terrible, but what they were doing made sense given what they'd been through. It was a solution to the problem, albeit a complicated and not a morally very gray one. And a good villain in my opinion is someone whose plans border on gray rather than are just total evil, right? Like, I'm just gonna burn an orphanage down, versus I'm going to do this really bad thing because I'm going to save my son. It's like, oh, so you have a reason to do it. Morally, I don't agree with you, but I also, this philosophical debate here about the desire to protect somebody, like the trolley problem is a classic morality discussion. Is it right to turn a trolley to hit 3 elderly people to save a baby? Like, you know, those kind of complex issues that these people talking about things, that's what you want your villains and your heroes to be doing. You don't want them to just be like, I'm right, and then prove that they're right, and never challenge that they're right, even if they are right. You don't want them to always know it. You know?
Yeah.
That's not interesting. I wish I had better examples, but Black Panther is probably the most recent example of, like, a really good villain morality and hero morality where I kind of understood both of their perspectives, and it was challenging, but it was challenging to the characters and to me.
Yeah. First of all, thank you for cheering, Wolf. That's awesome. That's very sweet of you. Let's see. Yeah, Frollo's song is fantastic. Yes, Spinel from the Steven Universe movie, absolutely a fantastic
blended
villain.
Example. As is, I would somewhat argue, Rose Quartz. In her own way.
Yeah.
She's emotionally a villain to Steven because so much of what he's experiencing and the pain he goes through is a result of her selfish choices.
Yeah.
She does not have to, frankly, live to see. This isn't the nightclub. Where the heck is the nightclub? Purple neon signs. Thank you, guide. Man, I love the guide. This is great.
I believe it has a bouncer, so that should help.
Why am I cartoon characters that I imagined the character bouncing around before I realized you meant like a board? Boing, boing.
Another question has come up.
I know I'm at the nightclub now. Freaking Siren Head is going down, y'all. Look at Siren Head go. Go, Siren. Go, Siren. That was dumb as hell. I'm sorry.
Sunny asked, is moral code another way of saying ideology, philosophy, and motive? Can moral code be classed as a subdivision of them? I would say yes. I think that it's just a cumulative It's all of those things. The cumulative result of your life experiences, how you're raised, your environments. It's your philosophy. It's how you make your choices when choices are difficult. And a good thing for stories is to present characters with moral codes, with moral dilemmas, a chance to achieve their goal in a way that doesn't align with their values. And that way,
exactly.
You can see what happens when they're put up against something that they can't conquer, essentially. And that usually will result in important story beats as you go down.
Yeah, and I think it's important. Also, I have to read this out loud. Danger, group levels at 2%. Please find a dancing spot immediately. This is your character. If we're talking about complex character morality, I want to talk about Miko. What is their moral is, I just dance. That's all I do. And you know what? I respect it. All right, Simon, you let me in? Simon in the back. Simon, you are a champion. Just casually telling me what to do. That's what I like. Like I said, I am a little torn on the to get through the story. I have to talk to random people to find the one dialogue piece, but as long as I have a guide, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, like think about
beyond like I think beyond fight. Sorry, like before like fight beyond just like why they fight the protagonist. I choose to think of morality as simply why they choose to do what they do. Right? Our actions are usually based around like do they, for instance, is a character willing to do bad things to achieve their goals versus is a person willing to do bad things to accomplish what they think is a greater good, or is a character what is a character willing to do like do they think what they're doing is bad? That matters because a character can do bad things and think they're doing a good thing. That's very different than a character who is doing bad things knowing it's bad but because they have a greater good motive. Like those are different things. So it's I always kind of quantify character morality as why is every character believe what they believe and do what they do.
Yeah.
And do they always agree with each other? And another good question to ask is, do they care about hypocrisy and in others, and do they care about hypocrisy in themselves? Because that's a hugely important question, I think. That actually, like, do people expect the same of others as they do those of themselves, and are they aware that they do? Right? If someone's like a hypocrite and knows they're a hypocrite, that's like the most hateable character in fiction.
Yeah.
Whereas a character who's a hypocrite and doesn't realize it is complicated, but might be maybe more likable. Like, there's nothing people hate more than a character who knows that they're hypocritical and go, I don't give a shit. Like, that's someone you hate. That's the villain you hate the most, right?
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily the most complicated. A complicated character is not the same thing as a hateable character, and so yeah, I don't know. That's how I tend to think of when I'm writing characters. I think of like, why do you believe what you believe? Why do you do what you do? Do you expect the same out of others as you do out of yourself? And do you care if you don't?
Yeah.
And those four things, kind of just like every character's morality kind of fits into those four for me pretty easily.
And when you're thinking about this stuff, you can think about how you make your own choices for your moral quandaries. Like when you think about what is like you come up against something difficult and you know you can get something but it goes against your values. How did you come up with those values? What makes you more or less likely to do something? Where are your boundaries? And you think about that when you are making your characters, and that kind of gives you a realistic view of how somebody would come about their values. Wolf, I have not seen Cyberpunk Edgerunners. I have no idea what that is. Do you, Ari?
Is that the new Cyberpunk anime that just came out?
I guess. Question mark.
And also, I wanted to say as well to Eon that just so you, Treehollow Talks, what we're doing right now, is a weekly stream where Caytlin and I'll play games. Caytlin does like basically raffles and art, and we talk about aspects of story crafting every week. Like this week is character morality. It could be writing backstories, it could be world building, it could be script writing. It's kind of like across the board, whatever we think is an interesting topic. And you guys suggest week to week, and we just kind of vibe and talk about our strategies as character creators, world builders, storytellers, and webcomic makers.
Yeah.
Where does the poop go is the most fundamental question of every story, and every civilization, too.
That's right.
Anyway,
also, as a heads up, I have turned off the highlight my message because the text-to-speech just... I can't think through it, and I can't hear Ari talk, so I turned it off. And I'm the only one who can hear it. So, alright, cool. Let me scroll up to see if there's other things we've missed.
What the effects that are going on this party are what's causing the frame rate drop. It's fine for me, but I have no idea how that stuff works. But whatever the case, I apologize for frame rate drops. I'm streaming through OBS to Caitlin, who is then streaming through. So you know, things happen. Oh my guys, my dream has come true. DJ CAT baby.
Well, you gotta jump up there and use the DJ station.
Oh my god, I want to do this. Yes.
See ya, Eon. Thanks for dropping in. Oh, posture check, unshrimp if you're shrimped. And it looks like, oh, Mog did the doodle raffle thing. So now, free doodle raffle. Let's see. We'll go with DJ Kitty for our term.
Why can't I do this? This is the most disappointing thing I've ever experienced. Maybe I'll talk to him first.
You'll be able to do stuff with it in a bit.
Cool.
Anyway, type exclamation point DJ Kitty in the chat. That will enter you into our raffle. Whoever wins, you get to send me a reference, and I do a 5-minute doodle of the character that you have chosen. Enter now.
I just need to take a moment to talk about this guy.
I know, right? Isn't it awesome?
This guy knows what he's doing. Furries live on, my friends. Furries live on forever. How do I get to the upstairs? Let's look at the guy. Talk to some of the robots. Oh yeah, that's always what it is. I just always talk to random people. Someone will say, "Get there this way." Maybe this guy knows what he's doing.
So what you're saying is, for future Treehollow Talks, we will avoid visual novels.
Yes.
Hey, Cassini, congratulations! Drop a link to the character you'd like me to draw, and I will draw it.
Yeah. Alright, what were some of the questions? I don't want to miss any questions, so what were there any that we missed from earlier?
I was scrolling. The next one that I see is, who would you say has the strongest concept of morality, but I'm not sure how to answer that.
Morality is cool, because, like, you know, it's hard to think of examples because basically every story ever, to some degree, uses it. And it's just kind of a matter of, like, how effective are they. I'll turn to Samwise Gamgee as a great example of a, if you're gonna write a character who is pure good in a lot of ways, or at least as close as you're gonna get, Samwise Gamgee, put them against overwhelming odds. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
We love Sam because he just always is trying to be right. I mean, there's a moment in the book that isn't in the film. It's a minor spoiler alert for the book, but it's a favorite moment. It's probably my favorite moment in fiction. And so the green robot named Fripp. Where's Fripp? Fripp? Fripp. Where? That's Fripp. Yo, Fripp. Hey, Fripp. Fix my problem. This is so dumb. Okay. He's like, get me a drink and I'll give you access to the VIP. Oh, it's a bar. Go steal one, I guess. All right, let me grab a drink.
You're a cat. You can drink, right?
Of course. Hey, you. Can you give me a drink? This is an inconvenient situation right now.
What do you think of character morality motivated by God, religion, or collective belief?
Fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm a absolute sucker for religious, priest-like characters. There's a show called Leftovers, which has a priest played by Christopher Eccleston from Doctor Who, and he is amazing in it. And it's like, the idea of like, because like, even people who don't hold faith, I think a well-written character with faith can be someone who you can see the admiration and what the the desire to do good, even in the face of striking evil, is fascinating.
Yeah.
And because you're personifying that morality, right? You're giving them a character to talk to, the god. They're like, I don't know if I can do this, Lord. And you're like, wow, this character's like, religious characters personify morality, and you don't want every character always to be that necessarily, but like, that's a great way for some characters to be. Carrie is a great example of a horror book that deals with like a really evil character with horrible morality who's vehemently religious, and she bases all of her decisions on her belief, and it's scary. But I've also seen characters who are good characters that mean well, who God is a big fundamental, or their gods, or their belief in whatever that faith may be. Like, even if you're someone who doesn't believe in religion, or someone who thinks that religions are toxic, or you have trouble with that, characters can have beautiful relationships with their faith, or toxic and terrible ones, and it's worth exploring in the same way any part of the human condition is, right?
Yeah.
I will quickly pull up on my phone here. I'm gonna pause because I don't want to hear the never-ending beep boop, so I'm saying this. So there's a let me find this thing. Samwise served. So okay. I want you to hear this line. Okay. So Sam is a character who, for those who are aware of Sam, or who aren't as full aware, Sam is the character who goes with Frodo on his journey. He doesn't have to. At first, Gandalf is kind of like, go with, you eavesdropped on us. Your punishment, you'll come with us. And Sam was like, okay, I'll go with Mr. Frodo. And then they go. And as things get bad, Frodo is kind of like, you can leave, Sam. And Sam's like, no, I'm sticking with you to the end, no matter how much it takes. And there's a moment that the ring's power, more explicit in the book than in the movie, is that when you put the ring on or you hold the ring tells you, hey, you and I can do some pretty crazy stuff together. Gandalf admits that if he were to take the ring, he would use it because he would want to do great, wonderful things with it, but inevitably, eventually would corrupt him, as it corrupts everybody. And Sam, due to circumstances beyond his control, is forced to take the ring into his possession and at one point wear it to be invisible during a bad situation. And this is the part where Sam puts the ring on. This is the best, most noble character in the book, by far. It says, and this is a good example of like using a character's morality in a really interesting way. Because this character, he's a simple character who just wants to take care of his farm and just be a good person. He doesn't have high aspirations. As Sam stood there, even though the ring was not on him but hanging by its chain around his neck, he felt himself enlarged, as if he were robed in a huge, distorted shadow of himself. A vast and ominous threat halted upon the walls of Mordor. He felt that he had from now on only two choices: to forbear the ring, though it would torment him, or to claim it, and challenge the power that sat in its dark hold beyond the Valley of Shadows. Already the ring tempted him, gnawing at his will and reason. Wild fantasies arose in his mind, and he saw Samwise the Strong, hero of the age, striding with a flaming sword across the darkened land, and armies flocking to his call as he marched to the overthrow of Barad-dûr. And then all the clouds rolled away, and the white sun shone, and at his command the Vale of Gorgoroth became a garden of fruits and trees, and brought forth fruit. He had only to put on the ring and claim it for his own, and all this could be. In that hour of trial, it was the love of his master that helped most to hold him firm, but also deep down in him lived still unconquered his plain hobbit sense. He knew in the core of his heart that he was not large enough to bear such a burden, even if such visions were not a mere cheat to betray him. The one small garden of a free gardener was all his need and due, not a garden swollen to a realm, his own hands to use, not the hands of others to command.
I love it.
Best book. So good. And like the idea of like his simplicity is seen by many as a weakness. He doesn't understand the world. He just wants his little garden. What an ignorant little fellow who doesn't understand all these big cities. He's just kind of trying to help out. But at the end, it's like, and yet that's why it couldn't tempt him. Because it's like, you can have a big garden. And he's like, I just want my little garden. And
I'm good, thanks.
What a perfect example of how to take a character's morality, which is his utmost goodness, and bring it to this critical moment where it's like, this is his test. And there's a reason why J.R.R. Tolkien, when asked who the hero of the story was, like, oh, Sam. Of course it's Sam. It was always Sam. And I think it's beautiful. I love that, like, proof that a good character doesn't have to be boring. Legolas is a character who I think in the book is very boring. He's good, But he does good things, but he's not complicated. He just is a dude. He just
Yeah, right.
yeah, Lord of the Rings. The movies are wonderful. I think they're fantastic adaptations. Some of the best fantasy ever. The books stand in a league that I can't describe in terms of how beautiful the writing is, and they're extraordinary, and they're absolutely worth reading. People exaggerate how hard they are to read. Like, if you have any degree of patience, for like the occasional like chapter where they're talking a little bit, it's riveting. It's so good. Also, it's where a lot of fantasy tropes came from, so it's cool to like learn about like how orcs became a thing. You know.
Yeah.
And let me go see what other questions we have before I restart. Let's see. Let's see. It's more common with ideology. I answered that one. A conclusion of character for themselves. Yes, talk about that. Gosh, I'm just making sure I get to everyone here. A lot of people asked DJ Kitty at the same time. What an interesting question.
How interesting.
There is a thing that so since they're Sunny, I think they are incomparable in terms of content. I have to say Lord of the Rings only because it's freaking finished. I think Song of Ice and Fire will always be held back by the fact that he hasn't finished it. I think that it's not. I'm not saying like he owes everyone anything, whatever. But like you can't. I think it's hard to compare an unfinished work to a finished work. Like I would never. The Mystery of Edwin Drood by Charles Dickens. I would never like say where does that rank among Charles Dickens. It was an unfinished book. I can't say, because you have to. So Song of Ice and Fire, from what I gather, is brilliant. I haven't read it only because I've always waited for them to finish because I hate unfinished stories. I think that they do very different things. Lord of the Rings is a story. I mean, interestingly, for those who don't know, and I think most people don't know this, J.R.R. Tolkien planned briefly to write a sequel to Lord of the Rings. It was going to be about the Age of Men because the idea in Middle Earth is that it's meant to be a history of the England and that sort of like that Western Europe area, which doesn't really have that much mythology of its own. It has some, but not nearly as much as like some other cultures do. And J.R.R. Tolkien was like, I want to create a mythology, create a British mythology, basically. And he wrote a story. And it's meant to take place on Earth. And when all the elves leave and the hobbits hide away within the Earth, we don't see them very often, humans take over. And his idea for the next story was that it was going to be a much darker tale of humans and war and politics and violence, which is very similar to Song of Ice and Fire in that regard. The Silmarillion is brutal. J.R.R. Tolkien absolutely was capable of and liked to write dark things. Like in Silmarillion, there was a time where an elf his body is used as a battle flag by the bad guys in the war. And like, it's crazy hardcore. So like, J.R.R. Tolkien wanted to write something kind of like a Song of Ice and Fire. He wrote like 2 chapters and was like, this is too dark and depressing. I'm not going to write it. Then George R.R. Martin came forward and said, I'm going to write a story of humanity and brutality and morality and politics. And that's really, really awesome and interesting. But I wouldn't say it's comparable to Lord of the Rings. It's as much more like a hero's journey. It's like the classic hero's journey, right? Getting from point A to point B to do this task. And I was going to mention that. Oh my gosh, what was it? I don't know. I don't know. I was going to say now. It was something really interesting and riveting, I'm sure.
Oh yes, definitely.
Definitely fascinating. Oh gosh, what was it? It was something I was going to say. I don't remember what it was now.
Thank you for the head pat, Leighton.
Thank you. I think someone said something that reminded me of it. I will say this is what it was. I don't want to dive into what people online discourse very often, but I will say this in regards to story. There has been a recent thing where some people have like, people have started to get this idea that you can't morally write bad characters.
Oh, yeah.
I am not a big fan of this idea because I think that the goal of storytelling is to explore the human condition in all its forms. I think that there's certainly things that certain people shouldn't write. I think that, I am 100% a believer that if you, it's probably not great to write from the perspective of people that you have no idea what's going on in their lives or appropriate stories that aren't yours. However, I don't think that if a character has bad internal thoughts, that implies that this character can't be a character in your story.
Yeah, agreed.
And I've seen that discussion happening online, and I don't think it's very fair Because what story would be interesting if no one in the story had toxicity in them? Heroes should have toxicity in them because every human being is in some regard toxic, and anyone who says they're not toxic is lying to themselves. We all have ignorances. We all have areas we need to better ourselves. No one is perfect.
And we use story to examine the human condition, and humans can be and often are bad, and we need to know how to deal with that, and you can't do that by neutering your villains.
Oh yeah. There is a character, apparently on the back of the bar is a pillar, 4 pillars with a memory. I've missed basically every memory, and that is fine. Where are the... Oh, there they are. Is that...
Azur asks, how do you go about morality for, say, people or a group of people who do some really heinous, unforgivable things? I think you show why they're doing it. You show what motivates them. You show why they believe in what they are doing and why they think that it is worth the terrible things that they are doing to accomplish it. Because if you can make, as Ari has been saying, if you can make your reader believe it and feel that tension, that conflict, and really feel that conflict deep in their bones, and struggle with it themselves, that's what can really communicate that story. And you go through what is heinous and what is unforgivable, because those are things that have happened in history quite a lot. It's an examination and an exploration, and I think, especially when it comes to moral issues and stories, rather than picking a position, go at it from the idea that you are exploring a philosophical issue from all sides. Don't pick a character who is right, because moral issues are complicated. They are thorny, and they are extremely complex. And obviously there are some pretty strong do's and don'ts, but even those do's and don'ts can get muddied by circumstance. Like, don't murder unless maybe you're about to be murdered, right? Things like that. So make sure when you're writing it that you're exploring the issue more so than picking...
God, I'm sorry.
No worries. More so than picking a side. Okay.
I want to be like, I also want to be fair to, like, you know, the people who are arguing this. I don't want to assume that they have bad faith arguments. I think what they're trying to say is that it can be dangerous to have your main character be morally reprehensible and then try to justify that it's fine. I understand that is dangerous. I think this is a book that I will try to refrain from ever mentioning again for obvious reasons. But the most famous example of a complicated book is the book Lolita, the Russian book.
Oh, yeah,
which
yeah.
people tend to hold in kind of a weird regard because most people's opinion is that it is saying this main character is a good guy. I haven't read this book, but from what I have studied of this book, because I took a lot of literature classes and studied on this book, it is meant to be a glimpse into the mind of a person who's unforgivable.
Yeah.
Now,
I have read some of it and can confirm.
And the question is, are we allowed to do that? And I think the answer is, I think that it really comes down to who is writing the book and why they're writing the book. Right? Like, I think that a person who... I think that, like, when you're writing a character who's reprehensible, who's terrible, who does really unforgivable things, ask yourself why you're writing this character. If you're going to justify this character, like a villain, you want to give some relatability, but if you're going to truly make this a protagonist and you're going to, like, justify their bad behavior, are you trying to enable... Are you going to enable people who truly behave this way to think that they're fine? That is, for example, Stephen King wrote a book called Rage in the 80s. Or 70s, I'm not sure. It is a book about a boy who walks into his place of education with a weapon, sits at the front of the class, and just makes the class listen to him and threatens them all. It was published before these kind of events were a common problem in America. Then 1997 happened, and all these things began to happen, and some of the people who performed these acts the book was found in their lockers, and some of them even said that it was an inspiration. Stephen King's immediate action was to say, unpublish this book and never publish it again. It has not been published since. He immediately pulled up on the shelves and said, I'm not publishing that book. I'm not taking part in that.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
fair.
think that's an admirable choice.
Yeah.
I think it was his choice. I think it was an admirable one. I think that there is a line you're treading when you're justifying a terrible character, but that is something that you have to consider, and that's why sensitivity readers are a thing. That's why you should ask for other opinions and should never assume you know everything. I think you're allowed to write whatever you want, but you have to accept sometimes you're going to be judged for what you write. And you should never think that just because you have the right to write something, that people should be forced to read it. And you shouldn't assume that if you wrote something that you were right to write it. So bring in sensitivity readers, ask questions, ask people who have different perspectives than you, get a sense for whether what you're writing is worth it. Those are fair questions. I think it's worth giving some credence to that idea that writing bad morality can be dangerous if you're doing it without thought.
I have a anecdote on that, which is, so when I started Tamberlane, one of the things that while I was doing world building, I was thinking really hard about like, okay, this is an animal society, and I want to figure out how to really set that apart from human society. Yeah, Neon knows where I'm going with this. And I was thinking about, it's a story about parenthood, and I thought about all the times that I had babysat my tiny nieces and nephews, and how babysitting, babysitting and parenthood both really make you confront the grossness of the human condition. Especially like, oh, cool, great. Where did you leave your diaper? You have pooped everywhere, all over the floor. That is great. Thanks. So ultimately, I was like, all right. I've been inspired heavily by European and Japanese comics, and so I will make it so that when they are nude, that they have extremely simplified bits. And this was sort of it's just the body, and it was challenging for me because I definitely have oh no, don't show the bits, oh my god, a very American sense of that, but it was also but there's nothing wrong with it.
I had a podcast where I talked to a couple gay podcast creators from Canada, and they were both we were talking about horror movies and how when I was a kid I wasn't allowed to see Kate Winslet topless in Titanic. It was fine to see the propeller man hit the propeller on the way down as he drowned, and they were like, you Americans are so puritanical and weird. A lot of the world things were really weird about that, and we are kind of weird about that. I'm not saying we should see everything sexual at any particular age, but we certainly shouldn't be seeing violence at some of the ages. I saw something I shouldn't have seen when I was young.
Yeah,
it's weird how our perspectives are all very old-fashioned in that regard, but
so
that was that's what Caitlin's intention was, right? Was to challenge.
Yeah, so that's my intention, and so I was like, all right, cool. So I'll do this, and then over time, it became very clear to me that showing kids, even with very, very simplified, as toned down, it is a line kind of thing, bits, was attracting people who were especially excited about that, and that was not the message I wanted to send. That is not what
Izzy, no!
I was going for. Izzy, please, we are talking about a serious subject here.
Oh no.
And so then I struggled with this decision for a long time because part of the problem.
Look, I'm a fucking cat. Do I look clever? I'm a fucking animal. What do you think this guy expects from me? It's a miracle. This game is how do I get up there? The game, okay? I'm not the most brilliant creature. Anyway, continue. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah. I was struggling with this decision about what to do about this because it was making people think that the reason that I did it was because I was supporting, which I super duper do not. But it was also really keeping Tamberlane from hitting a broader audience as well. But on the other hand, I got a lot of really nice messages from people saying hey, this really helped me kind of identify some biases in myself and become more comfortable with the fact that humans have bodies and that's fine and it doesn't need to be inherently sexual. And then on top of that, there's a trans girl character in Tamberlane who I was able to effortlessly show she is trans merely by having her in a frame, and show that no, she is not biologically female. Blah blah blah. Better put than that.
And there were trans people who were. I mean, I wasn't on the team at the time, but I know like there were people like said this was really nice to feel validated. It's not just like I don't have to, it can be so normal that I am me in a story without this. Like obviously stories should represent characters vocally and very forward wise too, but it's also nice to just know like a character can just be trans, right? And it's not like and basically this is the thing, right? I think what the biggest lesson from this is like it's not that you did the wrong thing.
No.
It's that, and this is a question to ask yourself about the morality of things or who you're attracting, which goes back to Jonas's question of how much influence do we have? And I would say we have some, but we also don't have all. We have less in who we attract and more in how we handle who we attract, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the lesson here is that it's a great concept, wrong story for the concept.
Yes, exactly. And like when you're doing that kind of
story, but not necessarily in this one.
Yeah, like, and when you're thinking of your difficult morals or values that you want to portray that are pushing against norms or are delving into difficult, complex, or potentially dangerous topics, it is important to sit and think about how this is going to play out with your audience, with other people who look at it. And that doesn't mean that any pushback means you stop. It means that you need to be aware of the fight you are fighting.
Yeah.
To answer you, Sunny, some people in another community said that if you're making a character gay or trans, there has to be a reason for it. Do you agree with this? Hell no.
Let me ask you, is there a reason for a character to be straight?
Yeah.
That's my answer always to that question is, well, why are they straight? And they say, because that's the normal. Then well, you know the issue, don't you? The person thinks that normal is one thing and this is abnormal. So whenever someone asks you that question or ever says, why did they make this character black? Why did they make this character gay? Say, well, why would they make the character white? What reason? What's the reason? There is no reason because people are people. I've always found that very strange and silly. I feel like the answer's so obvious, right?
It's like there's so many people that I know who are that's just who they are. I'm bisexual, and I am very passionate about making stories that are about marginalized folks who have stories where it doesn't have to do with that at all, because we get enough of those already.
That's true, and like it's one of the reasons why, understandably, it's understandable why, like, for example, transness is a thing that sometimes can be hard to present in a story very easily because, like, to otherwise would imply that to be trans, like, is like an instantly readable thing, and it really very often isn't at all. Like,
no, it isn't.
Or a character has to have a dialogue thing, like. And so this is an example of where Caytlin's method was a very effortless way to show it, but there were burdens attached to that, and that's just how. And morality too. Morality, by dealing with topics that other people don't deal with, you can answer questions and deal with ideas that no one thinks about, but you have to always ask yourself, is this the right place for it? Is this the right time for it? And I would answer almost always the right time for it to represent. I think always the right time to represent people. It's not how you represent and what audience, like. For instance, Charlie and I have I'm trans non-binary. My friend Charlie is a trans woman. We have a trans TikTok. We have a trans podcast, and we thought about we have to do our advertising campaign. We were like, what podcast are we going to advertise on? Because that sure freaking matters. We don't want to advertise like the Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, not only wouldn't want to anyway, but like we don't want to bring people in who just are gonna be, you know, terrible, awful people. So we were like, oh, what are some podcasts that? Oh, it turns out that this network doesn't really have any LGBT specific podcasts. They really should. But so what we'll do is we'll find ones that have queer hosts to talk about issues of mental health and talk about like that's gonna have audiences who sympathize with struggle, who care about being progressive, because they might not be the exact same demographic, but they will understand and they will care and they'll want to engage in a healthy way. You think about these things. Sometimes character morality and how you write a story is both what you're presenting, where you're presenting it, who's being presented to, and when and why. Like it's not so. Sometimes you might create a character that you love and find that you're not doing it's not the right story for him. Or it's not the right medium for that character, right? Sometimes a character like. Maybe a character is too complex to be put in a movie, so you have to put him in a TV show. Or a character is too complex for a short story or a poem, so they have to go into a novel or series. Because you can't justify that character's complexity that quickly. Yeah. Sometimes you'll see movies where, like, most of Marvel movies, where you're like, this villain means nothing. This is the most boring villain. It's because they just don't have time to, like, explain the villain. It's why origin stories for superheroes, it's why characters, or a lot of times, the two most fun, like, the two most fun types of superhero movies are one where the origin stories are often fun because you learn why they believe what they believe, and that's fun. Or the one where they are the most challenged. The reason I love Dark Knight so much is that Batman is challenged to his limit in his belief. And Batman totally should have killed the Joker. Yeah. 100%. But he doesn't. And there are consequences. And yet, there is an admirable quality to him sticking to that, his gut on that. It's why Man of Steel failed. Because in the first movie, they just had him kill somebody. He's like, well, you just lost like the one thing that makes Superman. Immediately. Yeah. You can do that, but don't do that in movie 1, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, no, Batman's absolutely an idiot, but as a character, he's an admirable character. As a person, what are you doing? Like, first off, he's assuming that the cops are moral by being like, yes, I'll send every single one of the superheroes to Arkham Asylum. I'm sure Arkham Asylum is a great place. Like, or it's not, and either it's a great place, which it won't be, or it's not, and he's cool with that. Either way, Batman's a fool. Batman's a fool. The best superhero of all time is Spider-Man because he's funny.
Agreed.
And as a teenager, and I adore him.
Agreed.
I adore Spider-Man. Oh yeah, Latent Logic, great example. If you're having a character in your story who is gay, and they're just gay, this is a complicated subject, and it's not necessarily. It might be a different topic for a different day because it's a whole can of worms in itself. But like, when you bring a character who's gay into a story, and you aren't making the plot that they are gay, are they token or not?
I think it really
depends on.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it depends on, like, for instance, if you have a story full of 100 straight characters and one gay character, yes, it's token. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, the world does not operate like that. There isn't one of anything. If you're a world of diverse characters of all types of backgrounds, then none of them are token. But if you have a world of all one demographic and then one who's different, that's like, by definition, that's a token character. And sometimes it works. Like, sometimes you have a story taking place at a time and place where, like, one character is gay in a really conservative town or having to deal with that. And that's real. That happens. But then the story probably has to deal with that reality, right? You can't just have it be what it is without, like, it's a challenging thing, and it's a burden we bear as storytellers who want to represent, and it is a gift we get to have by being able to present so many stories. Like, it's hard, but it's worth it.
Yeah. And it's difficult to navigate that. But yeah, I think that would probably be a decent separate topic. I'll write that down on our list. But yes, it is similar. Character drives plot versus plot puppets character, determining kind of also where morality goes. Speaking of,
and I actually have a question for you about that, Caitlin. Actually, I'm curious about. What do you think of the relationship between character morality and mental illness representation? People love to make every criminal a psychopath. You know what I mean? That's an example of, like, the really easy way to, like, demonize mental health as a way to make morality interesting, and it's a dangerous thing.
It's very dangerous.
What did you say, dude? My phone just died. I lost my walkthrough. Let's hope that I don't get confused. Let's go.
Oh no. So okay, it's a really difficult topic because one, it is the easy obvious way to deal with. Oh, looks like there was a new doodle raffle. I will get that sorted while I work on this. It's an easy way to be like, oh, like, oh, they were evil, but they had a reason. But it's like, unless you do your research and really go into this from a place of complicated and difficult, like actually doing your research, actually like looking into like the depths of what it's like to have this mental illness, you are not treating it well, and people with that illness become more and more stigmatized over time. So like schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia, psychopathy, dissociative identity disorder, which is often just called multiple personality disorder, which is often confused with schizophrenia. It's a whole mess of like, oh god, watching old mystery shows is a who's who of mental illnesses being demonized. Oh my gosh, I every time I watch a mystery show, there's always a transphobic episode, there's always an episode that demonizes DID. It's just, oh my gosh.
Also, I'm gonna start the giveaway. There's exclamation point, oh no! I've changed it to be 2 minutes with a reminder halfway through, hopefully.
I want to mention up to Sunny saying mental illness and storytelling requires lots of research. Yeah, and my primary thought is that as a rule of thumb, every single time you ever are representing a person, like a demographic of any kind or any experience that you don't have, you need to do some research and have sensitivity readers, or you have to be aware of like what you're taking on. Like, I'm not saying you can't. If you have a character who's like, appears in your story and is bisexual, like, you don't necessarily need to research as much in every case. And some stories it might not be as necessary to do a huge amount of research. Like if a story centers around bisexuality, or you focus on the struggles of bisexuality, research is going to be required. I think a lot of time that you see authors who write scummy, gross, bad representation, the answer to why, besides bigotry, is laziness. Just laziness. They're just lazy writers. They just don't care enough to bother researching. Because researching is boring and hard, but it's necessary. If you can't research, don't freaking write about it. It's like saying, I'm going to write a textbook on freaking, like, mushrooms that I've never seen one before. It's like, okay, like, I've eaten them on my pizza. All right, great. Like,
well, I think there's also that a lot of times folks think that they have researched enough.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel like you have a good grasp on like you have the specifics, but you don't have the feel. And so much of what telling a good story is communicating the feel of something. Did you just run into the lasers?
It's so funny.
Oh no, that poor cat.
She will learn. I'm assuming, is the cat a she, he, they? What is the cat? Is there gender associated with the cat, or is it a they?
It's, nobody ever says anything, so.
They said they.
Congrats, Mog. Welcome, or congratulations for winning the raffle. Send me a link to the character you would like me to draw. I will do a 5-minute doodle.
So anyone have any, like, okay, I guess I'll, like, Caitlin, you have characters dealing with mental illness in your story. How have you, like, I mean, and some of that I've been working with you on. What has kind of been your strategy so far with that? And, I mean, obviously, we'll talk about, like, our work together on it, but I'm curious what your strategy has been. I just went back the way I came. I'm a genius. Anyway, continue.
Mog, yes, you should be able to whisper on Twitch. Let me bring up the Twitch website, because I don't think I get them in OBS. Yeah, basically, the only mental illnesses that I'm tackling in my comic are ones that I am intimately familiar with, either because of myself or because of very close friends. And even still, I'm doing lots and lots of research. And I particularly, for this, I'm not calling out what those illnesses are. The idea is not, oh my god, they have this mental illness. The story is not about them dealing with that mental illness and like the stigmatizations or whatever. It is more that how the mental illness works on that character helps determine why they make the choices they make, right? And it's just one of many factors, but I'm basically leaning into the symptoms of an illness and figuring out how that would manifest and where and things like that. But I am not calling it out or making it like I'm not making it checkboxes. I am trying to go at it from a position of like this is the holistic view of what it is like to deal with this, and not like this character has BPD or whatever.
Yeah, and also mental illness should never be used. Like obviously, it's easy to say mental illness should not be used as a stigmatization or a demonization. It should also not be used as a cute quirk.
Yes.
Because mental illness is not easy.
No.
Like, if you do it with love and empathy and understanding. Here's the thing. One of the hardest things to remember, and this goes back to morality again. Like, for example, I have a character that I'm writing who has some degree... I want to write characters with, like, narcissistic tendencies. I had a parent who had narcissistic personality disorder, and I'm writing from experience, but I don't want to allow my experience of that to become a, well, now I have to write, like, I don't want to, like, demonize this character because my experiences were not positive, you know? Like, I want to write this character with love and empathy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think a lot of times people, hurt people, right? I think there's a lot of people who write mental illness poorly, who do so not because they just hate people, but because they literally have an internalized stigma and don't realize what they're doing. But that isn't, again, ignorance and laziness are not excuses for hurting other people, right? They never can be.
Yeah.
So always ask yourself why you're writing something and decide if your reason for writing it is a good one. And are you trying to increase understanding or are you trying to increase fear?
Yeah.
No,
and
like
my goal is always to increase understanding.
100%. This kind of sucks. All right, let's get. Okay, here we go. Come along, little buddy. You're mine now. All right, you are not gonna kill me. I am invincible. No.
Yes, I remember that character, Sunny.
Oh God.
Are you having fun, Ari?
I am. I have to get up here. Okay, I'm done. We lived. I lived. Cat lived. Nothing happened. It was great.
Posture check if you got it. And give yourself a stretch. I am also hydrating as Cassini demanded.
DID is I think the who's who of the four most demonized mental illnesses that are almost more often portrayed badly than they are portrayed well is bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, psychopathy, and
DID for sure.
DID. Those are the four that I have almost never seen done well.
Yeah.
Even shows that I like have had episodes where they just really drop the ball, and it's frustrating as hell.
United States of Terror wasn't too bad.
I've never seen it.
It had a DID protagonist, and it actually was pretty good about dealing with it. I'd have to check it again. It has been a while since I have seen it. Maybe it doesn't hold up. Who knows? Anyway, long story short, mental illness doesn't tie to morality. But mental illness can make you do things that are immoral. And by make you, I mean it can be a precipitating factor.
That's very, very true. And here's the thing. If a person, let's say you know in your head, okay, this character has this bad, like, morality, does bad things. And in your head, you're like, okay, I also am aware that this character has this particular mental struggle. And I know that. You can know that and allow it to inform in an educated way of doing without making the mental illness the twist or the reason why. Like, if you're like, yeah, this character has severe depression and these issues and they cause this and this, you don't have to then be like, and then I'll be like, you want to know why I'm like this? Because I have this. Like, that's not true. That's not why. I was talking to my friend Elle about this today, which is like, normal traits can always be somewhat of like PTSD can be an origin for bad beliefs. Yeah. But that doesn't matter. What matters is how that is handled after the fact. Like, it's not about PTSD. It's about like, okay, how do you handle what the now is? And that PTSD is a struggle, but plenty of people have PTSD, right? People have
I got it.
There's no such person in the world who doesn't have some mental thing going on in their head of some kind, because the brain is a complex organism.
Yeah.
Or organ or whatever. It's not an organism, but you know what I mean. Like, and some of it, sometimes it's easier to spot than others. Some people have things that are more socially obvious. And that's why I think that we demonize those four disorders so much and pity people with depression and anxiety so much. As someone with anxiety and some depression myself, I face that. Because they're the most visible.
Yeah.
Visible disorders are easy to demonize because people are intimidated by them and they're scared they might have something. And it's really sad because it's why we're missing representation of a lot of things. Because now people are scared to represent those things because they don't want to do it wrong, which is fair. But we need to represent those things in a positive way. Positive doesn't mean that it's easier, that it's always good, because I don't like having anxiety. But I don't want people to demonize me because of it, right? Like, so morality can be a part of the experience that a character has, but it should never be the reason for their bad behavior that you justify to the readers. It isn't a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, I am rocking this. Look at this little guy go. Look at him go.
Sunny summed it up well. I liked it when mental illnesses are left to interpretation and their entire motivation isn't just linked to it.
Yes, 100%.
Let me see if I have any other interesting questions. I guess we already kind of covered this, but how dark and morally gray or black can a protagonist reasonably be?
Say that again?
How morally gray or black can a protagonist reasonably be? We kind of already covered this, but I figured might be...
Oh, that's horrible. This is actually terrifying. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Okay, I'm sorry to ask one more time.
That's totally fine.
How dark can a character reasonably be?
Yeah, a protagonist specifically. Oh yeah, I remember this part.
Entirely depends on the story you're telling.
Yeah.
For example, part of why I love horror so much is, oh my gosh, I just watched The Descent. And let it be said that the main character in The Descent does some pretty bad things. And let it be said that I loved that they were a complex character and that by the end they made choices I heavily disagree with. Because a protagonist is not the same thing as a hero. And we already have done a lot of work in one place where we've had villains who are like heroes who are bad. We call them anti-heroes, and they are always white, bearded, bald men.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exhausting, right? Anti-heroes have become a little bit of a trope. So my argument would be, we have done bad white men to death as anti-heroes. It's a bit of a tired trope now, but there are so many other demographics and things that deserve their chance to be a complex character who isn't necessarily because like some storytellers want to have like, oh, every gay person in my story is like really a good dude because I don't want to seem like I'm bad.
Yeah.
Right. As a queer person, there's a queer character in like Vex. Vex in Mothorial is kind of a dick. They're kind of unpleasant. They're a non-binary character. As a non-binary person myself, I was like, I would love to have a bully character in the story who is non-binary, but that has nothing to do with their bullying. And they deserve the dignity of being treated as the non-binary person they are. But yeah, they're kind of a dick. Like, it's unrelated. They have other stuff going on. Like,
yeah.
I think that protagonist specifically, I think it kind of like, you know, your mileage may vary. How good a storyteller are you? How good at writing or how good you are presenting the story? How much do you understand the character you're writing? What genre are you writing in? Who's the audience for? I think it's too open a question to have an easy answer to, but I think that there absolutely are limits, and I think those limits are when you are creating a tangible, easy ability to justify hatred in the real world.
Yep.
I think that's usually my limit on those things. Like, am I hurting people by doing this? Like, or am I making the world better by doing this? And it's hard. It's always a risk. But I think stories I think risk is good in stories a lot of the time. Charlie and I talk about how we highly respected a story that failed to do something admirably difficult rather than succeeded at doing nothing interesting.
Yeah. I think that there is a lot of fear about, especially nowadays, about making the wrong creative choices because of how hard the internet can come down on you. And that is beginning to have, not beginning, but is continuing to have more repercussions outside of the internet, etc. So I understand why there's a lot of fear on topic of, say, I want to make my anti-hero who is morally gray, I want to make them black or East Indian or etc. And that there's
if the only character if like every one of your stories is white and then the villain is of color,
that's a bad one.
You have made a problem, my friend. I'll also say to Vex is she they or they she depending. I haven't really but I use he they pronouns. I'm pretty much just mostly use he. I also like they just fine. So I want to write a character. I love the idea of occasionally having a non-binary character who can go by their original pronouns comfortably, because I don't think it's not a requirement of non-binary to be to switch over to alternative pronouns. I think it's great to, but it's not required. So yeah.
Sunny agreed exactly what I was thinking.
Oh my god, I got so mad. I got so mad as a Middle Eastern person. Was not thrilled that they were like that. M. Night Shyamalan was like, "There's everyone white except for the Fire Nation." Similar problem happens actually in Lord of the Rings, where in the movie, and I'm sure in the book vaguely, the people who team up with Sauron at the end are Middle Eastern coded, and it really pisses me off. But I also recognize that the story was written in the 50s, and I'm kind of like, well, I'm someone who generally is to some extent able to accept the reality that stories age and time moves. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's unbearable, and sometimes it's like I can handle it. Lord of the Rings, I can handle it, but and I feel like I'm allowed to say that as a brown person. I'm allowed to say I'm okay with this, even though I don't think it's great. I accepted that it happens sometimes. It's kind of on an individual person. More weight goes to the demographic than like if you're not the demographic, you do have less say in whether or not it was a good job. You can't be like, oh, I thought it was great. Like, okay, well, but like if something makes you uncomfortable, that's fine. Don't engage with it. And if someone tells you this is problematic, maybe give them a listen and try to understand why. Like, sometimes people and you don't always have to. If an author screws up in a forgivable way, that doesn't mean the author should be destroyed. If the author understands what they did wrong and it's like, I'm going to make amends. If they say, screw you, I don't care. Well, then yeah, then screw them. But like, there's an author who wrote a graphic novel. Do you know the graphic novel Smile and all those ones are very popular?
Yeah, Raina Telgemeier.
She wrote Ghosts in the 2000s, and Ghost was a Hispanic Day of the Dead comic graphic novel. She is not Hispanic at all. She has some family relatives who are, and some people she knows who are, but it still was very much a story about Day of the Dead. It was very much celebrating it, and she later on recognized, this probably wasn't a story I should have written, because it wasn't like a perspective I necessarily had that much on. and she recognized that, and I was like, good. Like, she recognized it, and it's tricky, right? Because it's still, at the time the story was published, it was a big deal that a graphic novel could have characters of color as the main characters. It was a big deal in the young adult audience. It's a shame that it had to be her.
Yeah.
You know, people. I'm sure there are people of color, like Hispanic people, who are like, I really want to write a story like this. But you know, I don't want to get too off topic of morality. But I mean, morality ties into real world stuff so much; it's impossible to completely avoid it. You know, like it's tricky. I don't know what to do. My guide is dead.
So what you have to do is basically trigger the little guy who wants to shoot you, run into the open jail cell that you did not open. Have it, like pull it around the corner, and then lock the door.
Walk it in there. Understood. That makes sense.
There you go.
Stupid.
You're gonna have to do this a couple more times.
Well, now that I know what I'm doing, I should be good.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sunny asks, what do you guys think of characters that have morals motivated by jealousy? I have a character with the moral of seize every opportunity that arises, which is linked to the sin of envy. I think that's a great character motivation. I'm curious to see how you're going to challenge it and how those moral dilemmas are going to shape the story and that character's growth. Are they going to grow out of being motivated by jealousy, or are they going to find a midway point that is comfortable for them?
I will throw out there that, and this is one thing, not everyone is going to 100% agree with me on this, probably 100%. But I always think, okay, when you have a character with a reprehensible quality, for example, envy, you should, in some degree, show where it has advantages so that you can understand why something being useful doesn't mean you should do it. You know what I mean? If you have them like, I'm envious, and then they're like, whoa, and they fall off a cliff, and then they hit on a banana, and they die, and it's like, being envious isn't great, folks. I'm like, okay, well, no one believes that that's real.
Right.
But if you're like, I'm envious, here are some ways that my seize the opportunity is great. I got a really good job opportunity because I literally went for it. I didn't care if, like, I screwed over my friend who also applied for the job. You know, that kind of thing. But then you show why they would choose it, and then you show why it doesn't matter if it's useful. Because not something being useful doesn't mean that it's good or that it's the right choice. Sometimes you gotta make the harder choice, and it's more interesting that way. So give them some wins, right? Give them some wins.
Agreed.
Show why those wins aren't worth it. Thank you for holding the door for me. Appreciate it. Hey,
Jonas asks, is it a cop-out to write an alien race that has no recognizable morality by human standards because they're alien?
I don't think I'm fascinated to imagine how. I think like exceptionally complex, and I'm very interested in that concept. Like, when you say they have no morality, how would you define that exactly?
Oh no!
I locked them in for everyone else. I'm a hero.
I would consider that to be their motivations are alien. Like, you don't understand why they're doing what they're doing because it is not recognizable by humans. So I would say two things. One, that is a very difficult concept to get across because you are communicating to humans how something cannot be communicable to humans. If you can do that, more power to you. That is a fascinating story concept. As long as you take that morality being unrecognizable and make it something interesting, do something interesting with it. If you just say it and then ignore it, that is a cop-out.
Here's a movie that did that. I just remembered one that did a species with literally no recognizable morality. Annihilation.
Never seen that one.
It is absolutely terrifying because near the end of the movie, they without spoiling anything, they show you the alien and you confront the reality of this alien, but you can't possibly think that what they've done was evil. They weren't trying to hurt anybody. It's just, it's alien. It's unknowable. And like, it's kind of like can you blame the eagle for eating the mouse, right? We like mice,
Yeah.
they're cute. But it's hungry. Like,
Yeah.
that's an example, like, almost like the same kind of thing. Like, their morality is alien to us. Think of how we relate to how we, I mean, maybe a human who meets an alien that has an archetypal, like, maybe they project their own ideas of morality onto the creature, because don't we do that already?
Yeah. And the same
One,
vein,
baby.
that's one way to look at. Earlier, someone asked about morality for AI characters, and I think that is a similar thing for an alien race with unknowable morality is kind of where AI comes from as well. Except with AI, we at least have an idea of the first principles that they come from. Like machine language, right? Like you understand how machines and how programs are put together, then you can kind of extrapolate from that how one might build a system of morals on top of it. If that is what an AI would do, is build a morals. Who knows? That depends on your story. So, see, Azure asks, is it fine to base a character off your own morality? Absolutely. Just be prepared to test it, to test your morality in your characters.
Yeah, there are people who write their own morality, and then their instinct is to basically write the character as, like, always
perfect.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not. You basically, by doing that, you are bearing your soul and challenging yourself. And that's what I actually love, writing characters based on things I believe, because I love, like, crapping all over my ideas.
Same though.
Because I love challenging myself.
Yeah.
Always question whatever, I think it's an extremely valuable exercise, actually.
Yeah.
It's the difference between self-inserting does not have to mean writing a character who, like, we don't like self-inserting, especially because usually when someone self-inserts a character, you can tell that they like themselves a lot. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's when, it's when writing what you know turns into writing a perfect character who is all of your wish fulfillment with none of the hard tasks it takes to get there.
Yeah, don't, like, if your reason for doing it is to prove something.
Hydrate.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh my god. When I drink my water, I just noticed that the mouth on my PNG tuber just goes.
Oh my god, really, I need to see.
Okay.
That's adorable. No, like, that's...
Also, I really like what Cassini said, which is we don't cut down trees because we hate squirrels, we just need the wood.
Yeah. But we do have to ask ourselves if it's worth hurting the woodland animals by doing it, right? Like,
yeah.
Now there's a whole discussion about maybe we should be cutting down so many trees. Maybe our need does not supersede the need of nature. So even in things like that, like, we sometimes don't question obvious morality things. Like, oh, of course we need the wood. Like, but like, do we need the wood more than they need? They need their habitat.
I have an answer to this. The answer is fuck the squirrels.
If there's one way I would define Caitlin, it's very urban. She doesn't like nature. She loves the city. She's a city person.
Yeah, that's right. Fuck the squirrels.
Nature's overrated. Treehollow represents. We look at Treehollow like, but the reason we think Treehollow is kind of a troubled town isn't because they're kind of weird about Timberland and people who are different than them. We don't like Treehollow because they live with a tree. Like, that's
right.
the problem.
Screw the trees. Screw the squirrels.
All the trees were truly hollow. It would be a wonderful town. Oh crap! All right, let's go.
Treehollow is how animals should live in cities. Yes, thank you, Mog.
This is a very well done sequence. This is cool.
Isn't it cool? Oh, you're coming in.
Truck, please. Yes.
Yeah, you did it. Do, 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 do. They're looking for you, but they can't find you.
Our meow mix. What is all commercial for like some cat food? Alright. What motivated this cat to do all these things?
I really want to know that, right? Like, this is clearly a very smart cat.
The answer is greenies. Greenies cat treat.
Yes.
All natural, good for your cat's teeth.
Yeah, he's just like, alright, cool, I got you free. Where's my fucking greenies?
Oh, the cat's like, no, please, no! I'll keep you in my ram. That's endearing. No! Go, I get out of here! Go, go, go! One day I'll put out my. I just remember Free Guy reminded me. One day I'll put out my Undertale music. If I can never produce it, I have it.
Please do. I want to hear it.
I have songs about the Toriel, Asriel, and Asgore because I think that whole relationship is fascinating.
Same.
All right, here we go. This is it. This is the vibe.
Let's see.
Oh, y'all, this dude. How are we not? Why are we not talking about the dude? Why is this cat not care about? There's literally a guy. There's a little dude is on the wall. That's the first human I've seen in the game, and no one's talking about it. Crazy. Ari Tail. Maybe one day I'll set up so I can play some. I can do some music on the show. Music and storytelling will be a really fun one. I could like set my piano up. That sounds great. What do you think? What do you think, Caitlin?
What?
Uh-oh, I can't hear Caitlin anymore.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Now I can hear you. That was weird. Up till I can hear you. Hello? Oh, there we go. That was bizarre. I was gonna say, yeah, I would love to do a music in stories episode.
Oh, I believe that is on the list.
Yes. Mothorial is going to have a lot of both diegetic and non-diegetic music. Mothorial is going to be a musical at times, and I don't even care if it's not consistent in that. I don't care. I'm just me. I'm a garbage. I'm like, I need my songs.
Hell yeah, man.
I've written musical numbers for, and not like, singing dance, everyone's running around, but like ballads. I just love ballads. They're just great. I have 3 or 4 different songs I've written that are going to appear to take forever, but I think stories. I love Lord of the Rings. One thing that the books missed out on, that the movies missed out on, the books had, is there is a significant amount of music in the books.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
J.R.R. Tolkien was a linguist first, and he loved his poetry, and they're great.
Yeah.
Yes, here we go. I love how Neko looks like it has an eco in green. That's cool. Let me go.
Oh, yeah, you're gonna power the tram. You're going to the last part of the game.
Least realistic part of this game. Public transportation. What?
Wah, wah, wah. Oh,
where's my
posture check.
the guy was driving his car. Why can't I go in the car? Public transportation? I'll be around other people. Environment? What's that? Yo, this cat doesn't have morality.
Cats, by definition, are chaotic evil.
It's true. If you don't believe it, you've never owned a cat. Let me...
Next, after Stray, is going to be Cult of the Lamb, probably.
Yes! And with Cult of the Lamb, y'all, I'm probably gonna restart. I already had a game out to restart, a new one, and when I do, I'm gonna try to do Twitch integration with y'all. That'd be so fun.
Hell yeah, I was just on Scott's stream, and he was doing that with Twitch integration, and I got to feed the totem. It was great.
Nice. We also have, somewhere in the future, we want to play... What was that other game we talked about?
Okay, so if you look at evil...
Nuzlocke. One day a Pokemon Nuzlocke.
Yes, a Pokemon Nuzlocke, definitely. Okay, so if you look at evil in D&D, not as evil with a capital E, but as you are inherently selfish and self-interested.
Yeah.
Cats are evil.
True.
And I say this as a huge lover of cats with 2 wonderful little asshole cats.
Also, Gunny just sent me a picture of me. I don't know who drew it, but this is really, really cute. Oh my gosh. Who drew this? Was it you? I don't know. I'm not good at recognizing signatures. I'm a signature blind. Who drew? Hey! Yay! Thank you so much, Neon. Oh my gosh, it's wonderful.
Oh, yay!
Christopher, thank you so much. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, it's very sweet. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, that's very wonderful. I'm gonna save that. Put that on my profile. I was gonna say that. Look, sorry. What did you say, Kim? I was trying to follow up on what you said. I forgot. My brain just.
Oh, I was just saying cats are evil. That's all.
I was gonna say actually, you mentioning D&D though was really a good point because I would say that Dungeons and Dragons. I am in a game where I'm playing a chaotic good character. I know someone else who's playing a chaotic evil character. Someone's playing lawful good. We're all in the same group and we do work together, but it's not always easy.
Yeah.
Because someone having lawful evil or chaotic evil tendencies doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to do bad things. They might have a common goal in mind, but it's different ideas how to handle it, and that leads to discussion. And oh my gosh, we've had entire sessions where we're just all arguing for an hour and a half, and it's wonderful. The best. We're like, we're not doing it that way. It's like, absolutely we are. My character being chaotic good just comes up with ridiculously convoluted plans, and it's like, this is what we're gonna do, and this is all we're gonna do. It's a Gusto Gambit, and everyone's like, we're not doing a Gusto Gambit, and then we always end up doing them, and they always work. Because I'm a genius. But oh, hello there. I love the fact that in D&D you can have characters of different morality just fighting each other and but working together. Like morality doesn't have to be this character is bad. Evil always does bad. Good always does good.
Yeah. I really enjoy playing lawful good characters in D&D and explicitly working with the fact that I don't want them to be a huge friction point. Like, I don't want them to stop the story. I don't want them to stop the party if the rest of the party is neutral or whatever. But I know, right? But not also be like a stick in the mud, right? And it's a lot of fun.
I haven't played a lawful good character in many years because I went through a phase where I only played lawful good because I felt like I was raised in a religious family, and so I felt like my religious uncle said no one was allowed to play anyone evil, so I was like, lawful good every time, which led to me having a very frustrated relationship with lawful good characters. But I now am back in I really want to try a lawful good character because I have a friend, she plays a lawful good character in our campaign, and she's like my favorite character. It's a fascinating character. She just deals with like the question of why, if what we're doing is correct, but like it's having to live with what she does. It's fascinating, and I really want to try one. It seems like really fun.
Yeah.
Hello, you. Are you gonna my current task?
Well, we have 10 minutes left in the stream, so if anybody has any extra questions, this is your last chance to talk about morality.
Anything you want to talk about?
Big thought.
Maybe if we work together. I mean, yeah, no duh. So we done the whole game, bruh. Maybe if we work together, we can get this done. I mean, I sure hope so. I'm just a stupid cat. I don't know why, but I'm hungry.
I'm just a cat.
Least realistic about the game. When was the last time this cat slept?
Yeah. Since the game started, for sure.
I have a feeling now. That my theory is that what I have to do is talk to the robots, because talking to the guy seems to be the solution when it's been... Hey, you. Okay. So he's basically saying the same thing as everyone else is, which is that I have to press in a control room, but I'm not human, so I can't. But you know what? I may not be human, but I'm also not a robot, and that's gotta count for something. How about this? Wow, this solution wasn't a, what the hell?
You can't reach it.
You know what? My character can stand on his damn hind legs. Come on, bruh. Get furry with it. What are you doing? Figure it out. You're smart enough. You seem to be able to do everything else.
But see, there's 2 panels.
Oh.
So you need to be able to reach it somehow.
But, I don't know what to do. Let me go look around.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, here's a big question. Is it worth staying on the stream a little longer than normal if this game actually only has 15 minutes left, so we don't have to start with this and then finish within 15 minutes of the next day, of next session? Or should we just commit to finishing next time before the thing's over, and then sending it to them on stream afterward?
Um,
I don't know how much of the game is left. I honestly have no idea.
It's a little bit more like 20 to 30 minutes left, if I recall.
We can do that next session just fine if you that's what we want to do.
Maybe. I'm definitely very hungry and I need to make dinner and stuff like that.
I'm also very hungry. We'll do it next time.
We'll do it next session, yeah. We can maybe start early next session or something.
That sounds great. Also, okay, I'm officially fine if you want to just tell me how to get there. I am tired.
You remember that little like fax machine looking robot like from an office that you rolled around earlier? There's another one on this level somewhere. I don't remember where though.
Oh my god, it's all puzzles I want to be running from, and I'm in a running mood. Look at me run. Look at me go. Maybe it's down here. I kind of rushed through this room, to be fair. Wowzers. He ain't nowhere to be found. Could he be down in the basement? I can't imagine.
No, I don't believe it's down in the basement. Okay, let me scroll up. There have been a couple of questions.
Let's answer them. I'd love to.
Let's see.
And I will struggle with this.
What makes a good person to you? Someone who tries and who is invested in the well-being of others.
Yeah, my answer would be similar. Someone who is trying to do the right thing for people and be kind and seriously considers the consequences of their actions, and most importantly of all, is willing to admit when they're wrong and make an effort to change it.
Yes.
That's a big one.
What alignment would you give your IRL selves? I am lawful good.
I would say lawful good. Oh, what the fuck? It's right here? How did I... What? It's literally right in front of the... I'm going to become the Joker. I was thinking to say lawful good. I'm now lawful evil. I changed. No, I would say lawful good. I always want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't believe ends justify means. I just try to be a good person and just do the right thing. And if I mess up, I really try to fix it. I don't believe the word sorry means anything. I believe the actions following the word sorry mean. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. I'd like to think that I'm lawful good. I'd like to assume that. Turns out I'm horribly evil. Can I?
Let's see. A serious question. Let's see. What's a bad example of a character's morality being completely inconsistent and botched?
Oh gosh. A character who were not consistent with the character. I've definitely seen that before. Why did that not work? What did I do wrong?
Now you have to do over here. Yeah.
I did this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We try again. And do you mean like... What?
I don't remember.
This is silly. This game is insane. I mean, usually it's characters who are inconsistent, right? Who have or I think the most common example, I can't think of a specific right now, but is characters where they make them inconsistent just because they need to justify a plot point. I hate that.
That you have just described the Warrior Cat series.
Oh no! And actually,
Yep.
I have an example actually too, which is oh, that's adorable. My example would be okay. I don't know if anyone has actually watched through Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
I have several times.
Season 7 ran into this problem where the entire group all turned against Buffy.
Yeah.
And I learned later that this isn't a spoiler because it doesn't happen. You know Xander? He's the heart of the group character.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to be killed. And his death was going to be this big turning point because how can you even move forward from that? And everyone turned on Buffy because it was her plan that got him killed. At the last second, they were like, "Oh, we don't want to kill him. We love this character too much." But they kept the scene where they got mad at her. So the plan went mildly wrong, and then everyone was like, "Get out! We don't want you anymore." And it was most written scene. It was almost like this scene was written by a committee of people to make a decision, not
Yeah.
to just. And I had a hard time staying with the series through the end because I was so mad at literally everyone else.
Yeah. That makes sense.
You can't just do that. You can't just have everyone turn on a dime, turn on what you can't undo 6 years of progress to get from point A to point B. It often happens in the last season of things. Those kind of problems.
Yeah.
Finales are often where you see that, or the lead up to finales. Oh, yeah, the plague. Oh, uh-oh. Oh, this game is horribly relevant. Shoot. Poor B12. Sounds good, bruh. That's my response. Family died. I will carry on Lexi. Cool. Let's go.
Yeah. Sup? Great. Sounds good.
It's like the fucking Mario trailer today. Hi, I'm Bowser. Love this guy. It's me. Hi, I'm Chris Pratt. How's it going? Here to help. I'm a cat. Yeah, I'm just here to, lost everyone. The war, the plague. Cool. All right. I'm a cat. I like to scratch shit.
I'm here to destroy.
I'm a little bit of a troublemaker, you see. The main computer. Yeah, Jonas, that's very true. Lost, I think Justice for Lost is a fantastic show that deserves it, but it did fall into that trap a few times. Last season had that struggle sometimes where they, episode to episode was a little inconsistent sometimes. But when a show nails its morality over a long period of time, they become like family. That's why it hurts so much more in its TV show. By the time you're on season 5 of something, you feel like you're with your family, and then when they get out of character, it's like a family member just disappeared. It's like, this isn't a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lost, I did a rewatch recently. Not that recently, but recently enough that I was like, this actually, it holds up most of it holds up fantastically. Not 100%, but what works. Okay, Mike, what am I doing?
You need to stay in this room.
Okay, I press the buttons. Oh my god, look at that. That's crazy. That's where I was, y'all.
If you turn around to where you just were.
Yeah, sorry.
Not there, but keep going to your, that way, there. There should be some, I can't remember. What does B12 tell you to do right now?
Why didn't he talk to me? Where'd he go?
Maybe. Oh, he's over at the other computer. Run over to the right.
Did it just not finish it? Did it not render because I wasn't here?
He's busy doing stuff.
I wasn't. I think part of it was maybe because or maybe I have to go do something now.
I think you're supposed to kind of explore the area and check out all the places.
That's fun.
But now is a good time actually for us to wrap up.
Yeah. In defense of Lost, people say they made it up as they went along. That's almost always how stories get made. They just had too many ideas, and network TV is hard, and 23 episodes is too much for a season of anything.
Truth.
Just, too much going on. Now, also, I've seen some people recently been saying, wow, characters have been, like, some TV shows coming out recently have been so good. Why? The answer is, everything went to a standstill during COVID, and writers had a chance to do extra drafts of their work. That's literally why everything's been pretty good. There's been a lot of good stuff recently. And that can relate to character morality. I'll wrap up by saying, when you're doing characters of any morality, remember that it's okay to mess up if you're operating in good faith and you are willing to do edits.
Yep.
You might not get it right the first time. That's okay. Just don't stop until you are reasonably sure. And that sensitivity viewers have read, like, yeah, this is pretty, you kind of nailed it. Then you're good. So yes, everyone, be like this cat. Write your characters as a complete blank slate with virtually no characterization other than they can get high places. That is.
Hey, Sam.
I think it's exactly what we've come to the conclusion today.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you all for joining us today. Hopefully I can give some insight. Just character morality is a complicated thing, and that complicated nature can be a little frustrating, but it's what makes stories wonderful. So,
and I think my final summary would be to make the morality of your characters an exploration, not a declaration.
Yep, that is the best way it can be described. But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us.
Yeah.
Have an idea what our topic will be for next week? I know we always try to say
yes.
at the end for the hype.
Let me verify next week's topic.
Next week is butts. Should Mario have
Hell yeah, butts. Setting and world building.
We will discuss the tragedy of Mario's butt being made smaller than it used to be. This is like, that's like, are butts importance of storytelling? No. Yes, world building, right? That's what
Yes, setting and world building, aka where does the poop go? Also, thank you for the cheer, Leighton.
I actually think that's a great subject for next week because I'm about to see the world. We're about to get a lot of world building, world lore done for this game.
Yeah.
Other world.
Very true. All right, so we will thank you for stopping in, everybody. We really appreciate you. I'm just gonna switch on over to the ending screen here. I have no idea why this stream credits just does not want to do anything but followers, but hey, thank you so much for all you people who subbed and cheered and just were around and supportive. We really appreciated getting to talk to you guys, and you had some wonderful questions. We will see you hopefully next week, Thursday at 3 p.m. PST again. Absolutely. Yeah, everyone stay safe, be happy, work on stuff, and never forget that your story. I'm trying to think of a thematic thing that I can just say. You know what I mean? Right? Yeah. Your story is important. Your story deserves to be told. That's what I'm gonna say to everyone. There you go. All right, y'all. Bye, y'all. Take care, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.